Hello, everyone, and welcome to Community Spotlight, exclusively here on RCN. Glad you could join us. I'm Dan Mowdy. Well, the Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania has something that is unique and something that is flourishing, and one of the forerunners in business incubators. It is called the Ben Franklin Technology Partners, and we're very happy to have leading off today the Chief Information Officer, Wayne Barz. And Wayne, welcome to Community Spotlight. Glad to have you.
Thank you, Dan. It's awfully nice to be here, even in this format.
Yeah, it's brought on by, the situation all around us here, and we appreciate everybody cooperating and making some compromises along the way to make sure we're back on the air. Before we get started, nep.benfranklin.org if you'd like to follow along at home. And Wayne, you've been a part of this great organization for a while now. If you could maybe tell us a little bit about what Ben Franklin Technology Partnership is all about and the great work that you do.
Yep, be glad to. Always happy to do that. I've been with the organization actually for 20 years now.
Wow.
That's wow. The organization's been around a lot longer than that. In fact, the Ben Franklin Partnership was created back in 1983, actually. So we're into our 37th year, and the organization was created by the Pennsylvania legislature at that time to help counteract an economic downturn that we were in the early 1980s. We were losing manufacturers. We weren't participating in the new tech startup economy that was happening and creating companies like Apple and Cisco and Microsoft in the early 80s, and Pennsylvania under Governor Thornburg's leadership and the legislature wanted to create a program to help counteract the loss of manufacturing jobs and stimulate the tech economy. Of course, the ultimate goal in the end is to create high-paying jobs. I suppose in economic development, there's three ways to create jobs. You can either attract them from other areas, you can help companies that are already located here grow, or you can create new companies, and those new companies tend to attract high-skilled folks, and often those jobs that are created are much higher than the average wage.
Excellent. Ben Franklin Technology Partners of Northeastern Pennsylvania. What is the scope and the scale that you cover? And I understand that there's kind of a specialization when it comes to technology.
Yeah, so I think one of the geniuses of the program and why it's been so successful for so long through different, party leadership at the state level is this sort of decentralization of it that was created. There are 4 Ben Franklin organizations that cover the state. There's a Ben Franklin in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and one in State College. And then ours, which is based at Lehigh University, covers 21 counties. So our region covers the Lehigh Valley and Berks County and then goes north. So cities like Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Williamsport, Lewisburg, which is where Bucknell University is, those are all a part of our region. And the genius behind that is, we're not Philadelphia. We're separate and distinct. A lot of large cities, but not as big as Philadelphia. We've got a lot of rural areas. I'd argue that manufacturing was probably a more important sector for our Northeast than it was in some of the bigger urban areas. So by allowing us to drive programming specialized to our region, I think is part of what's made it very effective over these years.
Now you support clients both that are just starting out. They have a brainstorm of what they want to do and how they can help the public, but there's also those that are a little more established as well. Tell me a little bit about the way you support your clients.
Well, it's actually pretty similar in the two ways. One of the things that we've done in the Northeast here is developed a large network of experts in all sorts of disciplines that companies need, whether it's legal assistance, accounting assistance, regulatory affairs, sales and marketing, capital raising. We've got a large network, probably more than 600 people, and these are people that just love being around our companies. They'll do reviews of our companies that are proposing to us to be a part of the program. Sometimes there are consulting opportunities for them. Our job is really to bring expertise to our companies. And so that's either done through the staff. There's a staff of 7 of us that work directly with all of our clients. We have about 200 clients in our portfolio at any one time. So we bring a lot of direct expertise to those companies, and then we bring this connection to outside experts, university resources, access to angel and venture capital. And whether it's a startup company or a 100-year-old, 1,000-employee company, both of those types of entities need to know, what is the latest cutting-edge way that we can grow our company, whether it's product development or in the manufacturers, it's often new ERP systems or other types of industrial engineering in order to improve productivity of that company. Because in the end, if a local manufacturer that's got 150 jobs can be more competitive, they're not going to be downsized and outcompeted in the global marketplace.
I see, Wayne. Talking to Wayne Barz, the Chief Information Officer for Ben Franklin Technology Partners of Northeast PA. And Wayne, if you could, leave us with what this program over the last 40 years has meant to the state of Pennsylvania.
Well, I think it's meant tens of thousands of jobs created and retained. Those wages of those jobs, as I said before, are more than 50% higher than the average Pennsylvania wage, and so we're creating and retaining great jobs for Pennsylvanians. One of the things I really like to talk about the most is our organization makes money for the state. Right? So when the state puts money into the Ben Franklin program and we put it into our companies and those companies create jobs, the tax revenue created by those employees outweighs the initial investment by 3.9 to 1. So I like to refer to that as profitable job creation by the state. And I think it's why, the program's had a lot of success and support over 37 years.
Absolutely. Mutually beneficial for sure. Wayne Barz is the Chief Information Officer for Ben Franklin Technology Partners of Northeast Pennsylvania. Wayne, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, and when we come back, we will be talking to Kevin Rhodes in segment 3, but next up will be Chris Ciesielka. He is the CEO of Orb-Weaving Sourcing, LLC, one of the Ben Franklin Technology Partner graduates, if you will. Stay with us, and we'll hear his story. And you're back with us here on Community Spotlight. Exciting times to talk about upcoming businesses in the state of Pennsylvania, and they are supported by Ben Franklin Technology Partners of Northeast Pennsylvania. They have been working with companies, even startups, just brainstorming with ideas, and then also working with established companies, help them find footing and funding to flourish here in the state of Pennsylvania. We're very happy to be joined with the CEO of Orb-Weaver Sourcing, LLC. That's Chris Ciesielka. Chris, welcome to Community Spotlight.
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing great, thanks, and thanks for taking time out of your busy day to join us here. Chris, you're a Ben Franklin company that got its start through some help from the Ben Franklin Technology Partnership. Tell us a little bit about what your company does and how it is a step above your competitors.
Sure. So we participate in the electronics industry. The electronics industry, the product of that industry would be electronic devices, like your iPhone or a computer. And if you were to break those devices open, you would usually see a 1 to 3 millimeter thick fiberglass board, usually green in color. And on that substrate would be a number of electronic devices, resistors, capacitors, little micro components. Each of those components has a set of descriptors associated with them: size, dimensions, weight, color, country of manufacture, tariff information. There are literally thousands of pieces of data specific to each of these components. Inside the industry, there are hundreds of millions, if not billions, of individual components. So you start getting an idea of the mass of data that surrounds the supply chain in this industry. So Orb-Weaver moves data between the participants in the industry in a secure and normalized way. We move that data peer-to-peer, which means that it's secure, that it's not democratized, and that we're able to move the unique client-specific information between two trading partners. That's one thing that separates us substantially from our competition. And then beyond that, we offer tools to help our clients manage that data. And lastly, tools that help automate micro workflows within their industry, within their business, such as purchasing or quoting.
So when you say democratization, you're basically talking about intellectual properties and making sure that each company keeps their own business without sharing too many secrets. Is that basically it?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. One way that we look at it is client-specific information or market information, general market availability. So in our industry, if a participant were to go to one of their trading partners' websites, they would just get democratized market available information. The data that we move is actually specific between two trading partners.
I see. How did things get started for Orb-Weaver? How have you evolved since then?
Yeah, so we were founded in 2012. I actually spent about 20 years inside the contract manufacturing portion of the industry. And I co-founded the business with Tony Powell, who is our CTO. He spent about the same amount of time in the technology industry and software development. We met at Lehigh University getting our MBAs together. We're both entrepreneurial. And basically, I had the problem and he had the solution. So we discussed it, formed a business in 2012, and have made lots of evolutionary changes since then that Ben Franklin has been a part of, but that's how we got started.
So Ben Franklin Technology Partners, Northeast Pennsylvania, has been a big part, and I understand that Ben Franklin Tech Ventures has also played a big part in supporting your ideas and your development.
Yeah, absolutely. Wayne specifically, who I think you just had the chance to speak with. They've helped us in many different ways. The clearest way would be access to capital. As a small incubator company, they provide access to capital in a way that's not commonly available, especially in this area, to be honest. And then beyond that, the continued relationship with Wayne as a mentor has been very enjoyable and valuable for us. As we've basically doubled the size of the business since 2015, every year, Wayne has actually been the only person that continues to be a trusted advisor as we've gone through various growing pains, and he's been a welcome addition to the team.
And the website, Chris, I have it as orbweaver.com. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
It's a very ugly spider, but it has to do with the networking aspect of how we entered the business and how we are continuing to grow the business.
Absolutely. So a lot going on there for sure. As far as the future holds, will you stay on board with the Ben Franklin program? And you mentioned to me earlier that your span really isn't just regional here in Northeast United States or national, but more global.
Yeah, our clients participate in the global supply chain. We have clients that utilize our software in the Far East, in Europe, in South America, as well as all over the United States. We are continued focused on growing the business, particularly facing the challenging times that are abound us right now. But then we are focused on continuing to grow the business and then look forward to really recontributing back to Ben Franklin. We graduated from their program in 2017, and we've been clear with Wayne that as we continue to mature and we can offer things back to the organization, that's absolutely a focus of ours. It's a very valuable entity, especially in this area.
That's Chris Ciesielka. He is the CEO of Orb-Weaver Solution. Excuse me. I messed it up again. Orb-Weaver Solutions. And the place to go is orbweaver.com. Chris, thank you for joining us here on Community Spotlight.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right. When we come back, we will be talking to Kevin Rhodes. He is the CEO and founder of FMI, a company based here in Allentown that got its start courtesy of the help of the Ben Franklin Technology Partners. Stay with us here on Community Spotlight. And you're back with us here on Community Spotlight. We're focusing in on a business incubator that focuses on investments basically with technology here in the Lehigh Valley, and it's called Ben Franklin Technology Partners. We had talked to Chris, and he is the Chief Investment Officer for his firm Orb-Weaver Sourcing. Now we are happy to talk to Kevin Rhodes. He is the CEO and founder of FMI in Allentown. You'll find his business at fragranceMFG.com. Kevin, welcome to Community Spotlight.
Well, thank you. Good to be here.
Kevin, if you could, tell us a little bit about your business and how things have been going since its startup.
Sure. Well, I founded the business in 1992, and we provide contract manufacturing services to the skincare, hair care, personal care, home care, and pet care industries. So basically, we make products, all sorts of products that are sold in retail stores, but we don't sell them directly. We have our customers come to us, and then they sell them under their brand name. We help them develop and then ship and sell throughout the world.
Oh, fantastic. And it's interesting. I saw you have a men's line as well. I looked at the webpage there and I thought, man, I need you guys right about now with the trouble we're having here with the current situation.
Yes, actually a couple of our men's customers are really taking off. Men's grooming is a little bit more apparent when you have to sit on a Zoom call all day.
No doubt about it. Tell us a little bit about the evolution of your company and how Ben Franklin Technology Partners played a part.
Well, we started out in 1992 over at Easton in a very small facility, and the original business was to provide contract manufacturing services to the industrial fragrance market. So those are fragrances that end up in detergents and soaps and all those type of consumer products. And so that was the original idea, and about 3 or 4 years into it, it wasn't going quite as well as planned. So we had an opportunity to shift to making some, skincare, hair care, home care, men's care type products. So that opportunity presented itself. We were quickly out of space in Easton, and I got introduced to Ben Franklin about 8 years into this. So about 1999 or so, I got introduced to Ben Franklin. And from then on, they've really been an integral part of this. So our challenge then was we were out of space and we needed to move. So we had to find a space. Well, I'm not an expert in facilities or searching for that, so they helped us search, for the space. They helped us identify which space that we found was the best, the most appropriate. And then they actually helped us with the design of the operational design and layout. And then finally, they assisted us in the move and helped us, basically provided some project managing and project engineering skills to help us move and get set up in the new facility.
Fantastic.
That was back in 2000.
Wow. Now, one thing that I've been hearing from a lot of folks that are associated with the partners at Ben Franklin is that the support is amazing, but it's also a really incredible network of fellow entrepreneurs like yourself, guys that you can kind of, and women that you can lean on a little bit and maybe pick their brain for ideas and for support and for some advice, I would think.
Absolutely, and that has been instrumental. Well, we've continued to have a couple of other projects, 4 or 5 or 6 projects in the last 18 years since we were first, or 20 years since we were first introduced to Ben Franklin. Those have gone well, and that's been a big help. But just as importantly, there were a couple of members, employees of Ben Franklin that sat on our board of advisors for several years that helped us weave our way through some challenging times and some fruitful times. And they've also introduced us to a wide variety of resources, other entrepreneurs to share ideas with, as you mentioned. But things like a long time ago, I was looking for a different accounting company, and they introduced me to someone who, to this day, has served as our accountants. And I could just go on and on about the different connections that they've helped us make.
Absolutely. I know one of the other strong points, there's so many of them, with Ben Franklin Technology Partners and Tech Ventures is their access to the brains trust that we find in colleges and universities throughout the region. I'm just curious to know, has that worked for you? And are there maybe internships that have happened at FMI as well? So it's almost like another mutual partnership in that way?
Yes, exactly. Very good question, because that actually has. So for the last 15 years or so, we've had at least 1 and sometimes up to 4 interns during the summer working on real projects for us. Typically, it's 2 or 3. And then some of those interns have turned into, have been able to help us during the year working part-time. And in fact, I'm happy to say that 3 of those interns are now employees of FMI. One of them is our product development manager, so she's been with us over 10 years now, and 2 other people. So it's really the internship, and that, again, that idea sparked from Ben Franklin, who originally introduced me to the colleges. Even though I went to Lafayette, I hadn't really thought about it. So they reintroduced me to Lafayette, and then it went from Lafayette to Lehigh. So it's really been beneficial. Those interns have really been a big help.
Fantastic. And those are 2 key Division I schools here in the Lehigh Valley. For anybody outside the area, I know you've heard those names before, but fierce rivals in the sports arena, but very cooperative when it comes to their academic disciplines, for sure. You can definitely benefit from that. Kevin, as far as the future of FMI goes, how do you see further growth and development of your company?
Well, our purpose here is to inspire full potential, not only of our employees, but of our customers and pretty much everybody that we associate with. So we are now in the midst, we've grown spectacularly over the last 8 or 10 years. And with personal care, and now it's going to shift a little bit in terms of personal care, but we have lots and lots of opportunities. Currently, we have about 120 employees. And we think that our business we have goals to double our business in the next 6 years. And it's right there. The opportunities are right there. And it's really because of our culture and the way that our employees have really been engaged and working as a team.
Fantastic. FragranceMFG.com is the website for Kevin Rhodes' company, FMI, based here in the Lehigh Valley in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
And that's all the time we have for today, folks. Thank you for joining us. Great show on Ben Franklin Technology Partners here in Pennsylvania. It's nep.benfranklin.org if you want to check it out. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everybody.